Hello and welcome to today's cookery channel with The Quarter. Today we're going to be doing another family recipe with Scarlett.
Hello.
And Savannah.
Hi.
And we're going to be making a homemade tomato soup. So for today's recipe, the ingredients that you are going to need are, Scarlett?
Carrots, celery and onions.
Savannah?
Chopped tomatoes and fresh tomatoes.
And then we have some passata, some tomato puree, some bay leaf, some mixed herbs, some bouillon and a stock cube. You'll also need salt and pepper and some extra water to thin down the soup. So we're going to start by making the stock for the soup. This stock can be used as a basis of all soups and it pretty much includes the same ingredients. The girls are just cutting up some of the stock items of our celery, our red onion and our tomato. I'm using red onion because that's all we've got in the store cupboard at the minute, but really with the tomato flavour it will work absolutely fine. But white onions or whatever you've got, frozen onions, work absolutely fine. So girls, once you've got these, they're going to go into a pan of boiling water. Now I would suggest that parents, you do this bit so that the water doesn't splash up onto the little hands. And we want to just boil that up and start to get those flavours released for about 5 minutes. Once that's all boiled up, then we're going to add the other stock ingredients to really get that rich base for the soup. The girls are now just cutting up the tomatoes. It doesn't really matter what shape or size, but they're just using safe knife skills whilst doing that. But please always monitor the children when they are using the sharp implements. Whilst they're doing that, I'm going to add the other ingredients to the stock. So we've got the bouillon, which is just quite a rich kind of vegetable stock mix, as well as the vegetable cube. We've then got the mixed herbs, and we've got our bay leaf, and we've got our tomato puree. They're all just going to go in and I'm going to give them just a nice mix, and what you will see is that tomato puree will start to change the colour of the soup in here. Now all of those ingredients have already got salt, so your bouillon and your stock cube already have salt in them. So I'm not going to season this again now until we get a little bit further into the cooking process. So we've got the tomatoes all ready and cut, and I'm going to start putting them into the soup. And girls, whilst I do that, can you get the cherry tomatoes and start to cut those as well? So we have the start of our tomatoes in here. Now what I try and use with the tomato soup is a few different varieties, because each of the tomatoes have a different level of sweetness and taste to them. So we've got our normal plum tomatoes, but we're putting in some cherry tomatoes, some chopped tomatoes and the passata to give that really deep tomatoey flavour, but also it just adds lots of different textures to it. So the girls have now chopped up their cherry tomatoes, which we're going to place in. And then girls, can you bring me the chopped tomatoes and the passata? So in goes our passata. Passata basically is tomatoes that have been blended and sieved, so you've not got any of the seeds in there, and it gives you a really smooth texture. And then we've got our chopped tomatoes. We're just going to give that a big stir. So girls, can one of you stir this for me? And then Savannah, can you season? So we're just going to add a little bit of seasoning at this point. So we're going to do 4 little of the salt, and do the same again of the pepper for me, please, Savannah. Now with things like soups, obviously personal preference is really important, so I think we do a base seasoning in all of our soups at The Quarter, and then we just let customers add more as they like to taste, because everybody's taste buds are slightly different, and there's nothing worse than over salting things like soup. You can never take anything back out, but you can always add things in. What's going to happen now is we're going to bring this up to the boil, then we're going to take it down to a simmer, and we're going to let that cook for probably about 20-25 minutes until all the vegetables inside have broken down and all of those flavours start to come out into the soup. Keep some boiling water on hand just at the side. If it's getting a little bit too thick or you can feel like it's catching, just add a little bit into there. Once you've done that, we're then going to let it sit just for 10 minutes, just so that the temperature comes down before we start to blend. So we're at the all-important taste test. The girls are going to be having their soup, and what I kind of try and use up is a little bit of our breads. So all I've done here is we've got some of our bread rolls, broken them up just by hand, some olive oil, some sea salt on there, bake them in the oven for about 10 minutes on a really low heat to get our croutons. They can dip them in, make them really soggy, and then they'll enjoy it as their accompaniment to their soup. So let's go ahead and see what the girls think. Dip in a crouton.
That's so good.
What do you like about the soup?
I like that it's so smooth and you can really taste all the vegetables. We put in like the tomatoes and it's good all the way through.
I like everything about it. I like the vegetables. I like how it's really smooth, not really lumpy. And it's good dipping bread into a little smooth.
So it seems like it's a winner, but with soups are dead easy. Take everything that you're about to lose, that you think you might need to throw in the bin, cut around all those bits, put them in a pan, use that basic stock, and you can make a soup out of anything. It's really healthy for kids, it's really healthy for adults, and it's just that great filler that will sit in the fridge for probably 3 to 4 days, and then you can just reheat and enjoy. We'll see you again soon.
Bye!